Well, hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are doing a midnight reading recommendations because I can't sleep, and one of my favorite activities to do when I'm unable to fall asleep is to read something until I feel sleepy. I have been having sleeping trouble for the last 2-3 weeks now. It does happen once in a while, especially during the monsoon season. I've noticed, I'm not sure why. One of the things that really calms me down is some reading. So I'm going to give you some recommendations that you are good to go with if you want to read at midnight. My dogs may be joining me sometimes today. You can see Cashew right here, and Coffee is below, so she may come up on the bed, so don't mind that. I am going to recommend only one non-fiction book and the rest is fiction, because when I want to wind down, I prefer fiction. So without any further ado, let's get started. I hope that you like today's recommendations, and let me know if you would want me to shoot more midnight videos like this, because while this is not like really well set up, it's definitely very candid and it's easier for me to shoot, because it's impossible for me to shoot on most days because of the workload that I am dealing with lately. So yeah, let's get started. The first book that I think is perfect for a midnight read is Mahashweta Devi's Mirror of the Darkest Night. I have started reading this book. I'm like 60 pages in now. By the way, a lot of these books are my bedside books, so those drawers you see on either side of mine, I usually always have 4 or 5 books on them because I'm reading something or the other, different nights, different moods. So this is one of my favorite books to read right now, because yeah, when I am in bed, I want to relax. When I'm in bed, I want to unwind with a book that will make me feel things, because I do not have a boyfriend right now. So Mahashweta Devi's Mirror of the Darkest Night starts in a very gloomy setting. Okay, the setting is ancient, not ancient in the sense like ancient, but let's say India of 200 years ago, 100 years ago rather. And there's a lady, courtesan, who has passed away, and we are getting to know about her life, and some of the sentences are so beautiful. The main character is Kundan, who had hired this courtesan. There's some side characters, and actually I am pretty much intrigued by the side characters. There's a singer called Shireen, who is enamored by a guy who is going to be the end of her. Leila is trying to talk her out of this relationship, and I think although the setting is extremely different from the modern day society, a lot of these things are extremely relatable even today. How many people get destroyed in this thing called love each and every day. So it was very beautiful to read it. I'll read a line from this book for you. Kundan had studied life. He desperately wanted to bare his heart to her. He didn't know how to love. He had never been given love. Only one person had loved him unselfishly in his life. Everything else he had to buy. I just found that line so beautiful. I'm really enjoying this read. It's of course translated from Bengali, so if you can read in Bengali, great. I do prefer reading in English when I'm reading big novels like this, although I have started reading in my regional language, Bengali, a little more often, and I'll give you some recommendations towards the end of this video. But yeah, Mirror of the Darkest Night. Also, just look at this cover. Like, this is perfect for a midnight read, isn't it? So yeah, highly recommend this. And this is also really unique, right? Not a lot of people would be reading this book today, so probably it's going to be a great read for you for that reason as well. I think everybody reads hype books, but I like my taste to be a little more unique. So yeah, I hope that this is a good recommendation for you. But if you want to go like the usual route, you can never go wrong with a Ruskin Bond. And at midnight, if you want to read horror, this book called The Shadow on the Wall is a collection of stories. You will love it. Okay, it's one of my favorite collections. I have 12-13 books of Ruskin Bond right now, and this is definitely one of my favorite of the horror collection genre. He also has a horror omnibus if you want to read it, but at night I prefer reading light books, so it's not very heavy. So for that reason, I'll recommend it. I often use my boarding passes as bookmarks lately, because I think this book I bought at the airport. So highly recommend it. Beautiful book. If you want to go for a midnight read with this, amazing. But let's say you don't want to read horror at night, and there are some nights that I definitely don't want to read anything in the horror genre. In those nights, I like to read something that I will find comforting. Right? So I think I'm going to recommend 2 non-fiction books today. So if you want a comforting read, I really love this book called The Lonely City. Okay, I think the cover reminds me of the first thing that I felt like I was in the middle of when I moved to this society for the first time where I'm currently based, I felt so alone, and the entire environment was very different. I did make friends, I got to know people, I met a lot of amazing people, I lost a lot of amazing people as well, but I kind of fit in slowly, I think. But this book explores the journey of a woman who has moved to New York City and all the feelings that she's having. It's a collection of a lot of essays and her making sense of things. It's poetic. Okay, I love poetic language. At night, I would love to read something that will make me feel like I'm understood, like somebody out there in the world understands me. Just listen to this line. What does it feel like to be lonely? It feels like being hungry when everyone around you is ready for a feast. It feels shameful and alarming, and over time these feelings radiate outwards, making the lonely person increasingly isolated, increasingly estranged. I think anybody who has felt this way would find this read very comforting. I love this book. Okay, it's a book that I can reread again and again at various phases of life, and I'll probably think of it in different ways. So yeah, if you can pick this up, it's amazing. Now, since I'm a fan of regional literature, one of the books that I picked up again at the airport was this book that immediately caught my eye, the Book of Bihari Literature. It's a collection of short stories from Bihar, translated from various languages across Bihar like Bhojpuri, Maithili, and it's amazing. I can't read the original, of course, so I grabbed this book. It's edited by Abhay K, and you know what I found to my surprise is that I was connected with the editor from years, and I had never even known that they are the editor of this book. So when I actually discovered that, it was wild. I was very happy to see that. What a uncanny coincidence that I was already connected with him. Beautiful collection. Even if you're not Bihari, you should definitely read it. If you're Bihari, I hope that you will be able to read it in the original language. But I really did not anticipate these books to be, these stories to be so moving. My favorite of this collection is Kaliyug Ka Yudhishthir or something like that. Okay, in English it will be Today's Yudhishthir. It was such a good story. I highly recommend it. Okay, I really underestimated Bihari literature, I would say. I am excited to read more because after reading this, understanding how rich the culture is, I want to read more, and I probably want to read more in the novels. So definitely give me some recommendations if you have any for me. I would love to give it a shot. Some nights I know that I want to finish the book that I have picked up, so for that I will recommend a book like Time Code of a Face by Ruth Ozeki. I already have another book by her that I have DNF'd, like I finished halfway. So I was glad that I could finish this one because I bought it afterwards. I saw a review of this book on Jack Edwards' channel and I really liked the concept. So I thought that I will go for it. Basically for 3 hours this lady observes her face and all the things, all the thoughts that come into her head while she does that. It's a moving activity, staring at your own face for a prolonged period of time. It's supposed to make you think a lot, and I actually did this activity afterwards, although I did not look at me for 3 hours. I did spend about half an hour, 1 hour, and all my insecurities, all the things I feel, my eye bags, my pimples, whatever it signifies, I think it did make me think a lot. This book is definitely very reflective. Definitely go for it if you want to read a short book at night, which will also make you think. We are coming towards the end of the physical books I have. I will recommend you more books, don't worry. But if you want a relaxing read for kids, for teens, and I like reading kids novels on days I want to relax, I'm loving Sudha Murthy's books. This one is from the series Gopi Diaries. So the first book I have finished already. This is the second book that I'm going for, which is about actually their golden retriever Gopi. Since I have a golden retriever, it's very relatable for me. So I will highly recommend that you go read this, and this is it's a perfect read for midnight. Next recommendation would be again Ruskin Bond, a collection of his normal short stories. I was so stoked when the members of my book club, by the way, I have a proper book club now. We meet monthly, we host regular reading sessions. If you want to join for a very small fee, you get a whole year's access and you can join this reading community any day. I'll leave the link in the description, and I host the exclusive sessions in the book club. It's actually more of a passion project right now so that I can read more, and I would love for you to join in. We have over 1,000 members right now, so please do join us. But yeah, coming back, so Ruskin Bond was the author of the month, is the author of the month actually. So on 30th of this month, I will be discussing the author of the month with all my book club members inside my book club. So if you join in, do join in on the discussion. But yeah, this is a great book to add to your collection. And if you want to read at night, yeah, Ruskin-Bond books are amazing, very relaxing. And lastly, one non-fiction book, 101 Essays to Change the Way You Think. It's a brilliant book. I love anything that thought catalog writers push out. In some way or the other, you can reflect. It's like an elder sister's advice. If you go for this book, the best part is that every night you can read one chapter and you would have read a book at least in a year. And it's really nice. I have read the chapters of this book in various aspects of life, loved it. Now there are some more books that I will recommend. Number one is Simple Passion by Ani Erno. I have finished reading almost all Ani Erno books this last month because she was our author of the month last month. And I loved them. She won the Nobel Prize last year. I will ask you now, do you want me to make a video specifically on Ani Erno reads? Because I have finished all her books. I'm not sure how many of you will be interested in a particular author, but her works are brilliant. She talks about female sexuality, relationships, gender role, social class, and entangles it with history and politics. And yeah, it's very good to read her works. Okay, it's so impersonal, so easy. One of her books that I think is perfect for a midnight read is Simple Passion or Possession. Okay, there's some sort of an obsession with a romantic interest in that I find fascinating to read about that phase of her life. I'm sure that so her books are written in a way that it's like she's trying to understand herself and not really for us. It almost feels like we are peeping in on someone's life. We are looking into someone's most intimate parts of their lives without permission, and I think that's not fair to do, but I loved reading Ani Erno books. All of her books were almost available on Storytel, so I read from there. A couple of her books I did buy in paperback, but those I have not finished yet. So yeah, this is a good recommendation, Simple Passion. If you don't want to read something, or if you're under 18, don't read Simple Passion. Read Exteriors instead. You'll probably like that. I also have started reading Suchitra Bhattacharya books in Bengali at night. So a lot of her books are not available in English, just a few are, like Dahan is available in English, Hemante Pakhi is available in English. So if you can find any of her books in translation, please go for it. They are pretty good. And the best part about Suchitra Bhattacharya books is that it encompasses family life very nicely. The little taunts of parents, the strained relationships of siblings, the constant pressure that children go through. Like, you will find it very relatable. Family life, I don't think any other writer can capture in her words as good as she does. It's a pity that she's passed away. I would have loved to meet her in my lifetime. That's it, I guess. I think these are the recommendations I have for you for midnight reading. Thank you so much for joining me tonight to get to know my midnight reads. I hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Let me know which books you would like to read if you wanted to read something at midnight, because I will take your recommendations. And yeah, I'll see you with another video next week. Till then, bye bye.